Hello guys, how are you? I hope the same as you were during the setting of the session, right? So let's continue our discussion regarding our fast path. So in the previous part, you came to know that how the session is being set up and created, right? We go through our slow path, and based on these checks, the session is being set up. Once we are here in the fast path, what is going to happen that it is going to check the L2 to L4 firewall processing, right? So if it can happen like the you might be inactive for some of the times, like you were browsing any of the pages and for some time you did not scroll it, or your session was not active for some of the time. So if the session was not active for some of the time, so this can only happen in case of your packet is traveling from this direction, not if you have come through this direction, right? Because you have recently set up the session. So this is only case whenever your session is set up. So but it is not active for some of the time and it has passed your the session lifetime. So in that case, it may request you to create a new session. You have to go through the slow path once again. If it is not, it may be active, it depending on the session lifetime. All right. And if you are okay with it, based on the rules or the policy we have configured on the firewall, it will process it further. It decides, the firewall, that whether you have to go back to this direction or we will continue. So if it is continue for the same time, it will also do NAT if applicable, right? We check it here, right? NAT policy and all, but that is just lookup part. It is not doing any of the things right here. It is just looking up at that we have to do it or not. So if it is applicable, it will do it here. It can be like source NAT or destination NAT. All right. So if it is okay, then it will go to the SSL proxy. Let me clear it. SSL proxy, that do whether our traffic is encrypted or decrypted, right? If it is encrypted traffic, then we cannot inspect the traffic. It is really difficult. So first, what we are going to do? We will decrypt the traffic. You know encryption, right? What is encryption? If you don't know, so just to brief you, that in case of encryption, what we normally do, that let us suppose this is our hello packet, right? So we will scramble it in such a way, the bits like 10101010, something like that one, that nobody can read it. So that's how is our encryption. And we add some key value here. Key means that we can say a passphrase or password, something like that one. So without that key, it cannot be decrypted. You cannot recover this word hello. So it, in normal cases, with our encryption, nobody can read our messages. Even they find out, they can capture our traffic, but still they cannot decrypt it. They cannot read the actual information what was traveling through it. So that is basically. So if that type of information is passing through our firewall, then what will happen? Obviously we have set up a firewall to inspect the traffic, and if you are failed to do it, then it is a really bad thing, right? So that's what our firewall do. It will decrypt the packet first, and then it will try to inspect it further. Now if we have decrypted it and find out that what of the application information is traveling through, do we have like Facebook traffic is traveling through it, or some other information is traveling through it, right? It can be. So for that one, it is trying to identify our app. So if app is identified, then content inspection will be started. Here there is a very important term, this SP3. One more interview affirmative question. What is this SP3? So SP3 stands for single pass parallel processing. There are 3P. Let me write it. Single, that is okay. Pass, parallel, and processing. So these 3P, these are called as P3. So we call them as an SP3. So this is a very important this is really important, and this happens only in the Palo Alto firewall. This inspection part is basically in the SP3. Inspection happens in everyone, but not to the it is changing the yeah. So what happens that if our app is identified, then it passed through our SP3 architecture. What is this SP3? You clear about that one? And let me show you that what are the things it is going to do in the SP3. If you go to the firewall, this is the actual firewall. Okay, it has been logged out. Let me log in. Okay, so let us suppose this is our any of the firewall rule, and in the firewall rule, if you go to this action tab and you see that this option is profile setting. So if I select profiles here, there are multiple profiles are there. So what this Palo Alto basically do, it checks these all these things like antivirus, vulnerability protection, anti spyware, URL filtering, file blocking, data filtering, wildfire analysis. So these are all together are done parallelly. Means that our packet is passing from here. Let us suppose this is packet, and it is checking all these things together, and once check is passed, then it is given an output. What is happening because of this parallel? It is saving time. Means that if it is inspecting one by one, like let's suppose it is doing antivirus inspection first, then vulnerability protection, then URL filtering, then data filtering, so it will be taking much time. So processing time becomes high. So in order to save that one, we are doing this SP3. SP3 means that single pass we are doing this parallel inspection. So this is what basically single pass parallel processing. So if we go to our flow once again, then you see that it is inspecting the traffic, right? So if the apply security profile action, right? And here application, once it is entering here, then again you see that it is checking that whether our application has been changed or not, right? It can be the case that earlier you opened a facebook.com, right? You were using browsing only, and then all of a sudden you started playing games. Means that your source and destination IP address are same, but now your application has been changed from browsing to games. So if your session is set up, your session is active, but still your application has been changed. So if the application has been changed, then again it will be doing the same thing here. Let me close it. It is going to check these things once again, like if app override policy mismatch is there or not. Like if you started playing games, are you authorized to play games? We have any override policy to allow you to play the game, right? You might be the CEO of the company and you are allowed to play the game, so it might be the case. So do we have any override policy in the firewall? If it is, then no problem, you can keep playing. But if it is not allowed, then it will go for that one. Rule match with action allow. If you are allowed to pass it, then it's okay, we will check further, but if not, we will simply discard the packet. If the rule is matching, right, these things whatever we have done, now it is checking our SP3. So it will start SP3 inspection if security profile is specified. So whatever I just shown you the firewall setup, so all these security, based on these all security profiles, this SP3 inspection will be done. Same time it will also check the QoS, quality of service, means that which of the traffic to be prioritized, or it has to be weight based on the QoS information. It will take the decisions and process it further. And if there's like it is in SSL, means again if it is encrypted, if anyhow we find out, right, we are processing, and if it anyhow saved that we find out that, oh my god, this is encrypted traffic, then again we will send it back to where it was to be decrypted here, right? We are back, we will decrypt the packet, and then again it will pass these checks once again. We will be traveling like this. And now obviously you have decrypted it, so it will pass it to be further. So if you have find out that if it was passed all the checks and now it is passed all the checks, then the traffic will be coming back here. Now let us see that if all the checks are passed and we are on track, then what is going to happen. It is going to the egress interface here, and if it was like all checks are passed and the packet was encrypted, then before leaving the firewall we will re-encrypt the packet. It cannot happen that we took the packet encrypted one and it is leaving our firewall and we leave it in the plain text. We do not do that one. We will use the similar encryption keys and we will re-encrypt the traffic before leaving the firewall. Now it is our on the egress interface. So at the egress interface, we will forward the traffic based on the routing table available on the virtual router. We are having a virtual router, right? So based on those values that on which interface, because it can happen, happen the case that they are the multiple interfaces. So it will take the decision on which interface or on which zone it has to be go out. The traffic will come out of those interfaces. Here it is important to take decisions based on the NAT address as well, right? It can happen that here we did the NATing and based on the destination NAT or the source NAT, the routing has been changed. So all these decisions are taken at the point of exit, that where it has to be gone. And here the packet shaping will be there, and if we find out that this packet belongs to any of the tunnel interface, then it will send to the tunnel interface encryption. It will encrypt the packet and it will be sent to the corresponding tunnel. But if it is not to the IPsec tunnel, inspection is not required, it will simply pass out the traffic based on the encryption. If it was encrypted, it will be encrypted. If it was not, it will pass through the symbol. So this was a really, I feel it totally theoretical session and you might be bored of this one, but this is very important conceptually and you should understand it, because if you don't understand the packet flow, it is going to be a tough time for you in the troubleshooting. Basically, not for the learning, anyone can learn, but when it comes to the troubleshooting in the production environment, it is going to be really tough for you. All right guys, thank you, see you soon in the next session.